Welcome, Thomas. How are you today?
I'm great. Thank you, Dharam, for asking. How are you?
I'm doing great. We are coming almost to the end of the year with
Yeah.
so many podcasts. Thank you for your contribution. You have been so big contributor to this pool of knowledge, which is becoming big and big. So thank you for your contribution.
Well, yeah, actually, I'm a beneficiary of that. I'm benefiting from it because you're organizing all that and you have your team setting up some guardrails, some questions that we can ask and doing all the video editing. So that's a huge support. And I think you also gained some very good experience how to do this kind of podcast.
Exactly. So it has to be win-win. It was a win-win for all. So many podcasts, so many webinars has been done for last 3 years. I think with you, maybe more than 60 podcasts already.
Yes.
All right, great.
But you have also others, others
Hmm.
like Reinhard, also from Germany, and others who are
I,
helping to discuss some topics.
yeah, Justin Buckwalter. My newest podcast colleague is Colin Dominish. He was my boss. 50,
Ah,
20 years, 15 years ago.
okay.
There
This
you
was
go.
in Australia.
From Australia, yeah.
Good.
So we're talking agile, sorry, more artificial intelligence and the new technologies. Wow. So I'm blessed to have so many people around me. So thank you.
Yeah, yeah.
You have been biggest contributor so far. So in the series, let's talk about the new topic. And it's actually very hot topic for most of the people, most of the companies. And how can they make the agile, if they're moving to an agile, more successful?
Yeah.
Can we learn from the failures of others and do the transformation even better?
Yeah.
So today's topic is scaling agile in organization. And to start with, I have a question: why do large scale agile transformation fail?
Well, yes. First, it's a transformation. And why do transformations, large scale transformations, fail? And there are some figures around 70% can fail, and do not achieve the initial targets. And there are a lot of presentations and surveys, and why are they failing? I think the first thing is the leadership doesn't grasp the role, and often. So not only has a leader to be a sponsor and say I want this, but also somebody from leadership has to be hands-on, driving that transformation day by day, because transformation is really looking at the status quo of the organization, and we're talking large scale. So it affects everybody in the company probably, and without a leader being at the helm and with the shovel on the ground, and going around in the company and talking to everybody, it will fail, And leadership also has to be constant. That transformation can take more than a year, Though I find the best transformation that don't fail really were very short, maybe half a year, 9 months, because then you can change something, and it's so overwhelming for everybody. Everybody goes with it. The second point is why they fail is that you don't have what I would call champions, people who really are enthusiastic about what the transformation is about, if it's agile or something. And you have to have throughout the ranks, in every department, you have to have people who are about that enthusiastic, and I call them champions. And you have to focus on that core team, and because they will not only drive the transformation itself with the changes that are at hand, but also they will motivate others, and talk to others, and hopefully increase the numbers of champions in the company doing that. And the third thing, what I have seen, with transformation fail, And I worked for IBM, and actually nobody really knew it, but IBM had about 10 mergers and acquisitions every year, small things, big things. Normally you talk about the big things, and they were vastly successful with their mergers. And mergers always are transformations of the company you are either acquiring, or even are a change for the company who is buying. Like when IBM was buying Price Waterhouse Consultants, they also changed the whole consultancy. So it was no longer the old IBM consultancy, but it was basically the terms and conditions and everything, of the Price Waterhouse guys. And they were bought in, and they were put into positions to drive a change within IBM. And it was vastly successful. Actually, it was the masterpiece of Ginny Rometty. That's why she became CEO after that, So it was a 2 or 3 years program. And the third thing, besides leadership and champions, is that a transformation has to be thought not from inside out, changing something internally and then see what happens with the outer world, like with partners, with customers, with the marketplace. No. You have to have a very open ear to the outside world and see what are they demanding of you, and how can you then respond to these demands. So if you try to do a transformation by building borders, somehow encapsulating your organization, change it, and then open it again to the market, this will fail. Though it has to be the other way around. You have to be very open to the outside, get the feedback, maybe try something in one market and say, okay, let's refine it, and then roll it out to all markets. Like that would be the thing. The outside in is the primary direction you have to follow in such a transformation. By IBM, not IBM, PMI has this initiative called Brightline, and Brightline has developed a transformation methodology and also some certifications around that. And I recommend to read that because it's a free document. You can download it. It's a so-called transformation compass, and it's built on a Stanford professor's knowledge and experience of 20 years of over 1,000 transformation observed, and research what worked, what didn't work, and the result is this transformation compass. So talking about Agile, it's a little bit difficult because Agile itself is a belief system, a kind of you have the manifesto and you believe in this statement or not, and you have other beliefs. There is no really a scientific evidence behind it. But yeah, you can say we want to become an Agile organization. But what most organizations do is that they start, with a small team, and they try out some Scrum or some Kanban, and they say, okay, we are the Agile kernel. But this is not the organizational transformation. This is maybe a pilot or whatever to see how it works. But if you really want to transform your belief system, these are the principles you're working along, the culture, these are the vision of the company, then you have to step in at the top, and leadership is very, and not only one leader of the C-suite maybe, but the whole C-suite has to be behind it and show it. And the other thing with Agile transformation is, this company, if I'm talking about for-profit companies now, they are living in a jungle of economic struggles, with competition, and trying to win, and it's difficult because the Agile belief system has a very positive, humane, view on how to team, how to collaborate, how to see all sustainability. Everything is also around that, but it really contradicts to what the market is doing, and somebody has to be the buffer between the both, and you have to consider this in the agile transformation. And we have a lot of agile, large-scale agile, let's say, templates. I think most famous and most developed is the SAFe model, and
Yeah.
by Livinghouse, and he developed that, and it's a big company, and they have a lot of customers. And I had the chance, I'm also teaching, and I'm reviewing master thesis guys, and I just saw a master thesis guy this year reporting about their SAFe implementation in a big conglomerate, and yeah, they do SAFe by name, but then they adapted so much, and probably they should, that it works for them. And the mindset change, so the belief system change, has only been partly achieved, because again, if you don't change, let's say, your bonus system and your payment system and your target system, then it's very hard to convince people to be agile, open, and communicate and everything. So SAFe is what you will see. Then we also have digital agile transformations doing that. The PMI, the concept PMI bought some years ago. Nexus, less, yeah. And recently, we also see that concepts like value streams or flow are adapting within the agile ecosystem. So there are a lot of approaches, which is also a little bit confusing.
Yep.
If you some years, let's say 20 years ago, you said, let's start a PMO, then you took the PMBOK guide out of the shelf and said, okay, that's our template, and we do that. And now you have a plethora of ideas and concepts and whatever, and still everything is based on a kind, believe it or not.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, very well structured thoughts. Thank you for sharing. And look, the transformation, especially agile transformation, and you mentioned, the way of thinking has to change. The people earlier, they were working on the traditional waterfall way of doing things, where you did requirements and design and waiting for the approval, and while the testing or development app and testing, it takes ages, and many times, by the time you release the product, it's too late in the market, or maybe it's not the same expected result as you were delivering, customer expecting. But in Agile, at least there is a concept of product owner working with the Scrum team. The chance of getting a good product on timely manner is much, much higher. If the whatever point you were talking, and this is Agile is taken very seriously in the organization, not just okay, let's try it out and follow the principles. Yes, not just rigid, but at the same time, whatever principle, let's agree as a team empowerment. Not only team, but also the organizational leaders. As you mentioned, leaders are very important in this. They need to be championing this agile transformation. Not only just good words and talk about, let them figure it out. No, you have to work with the team so that they believe that the leadership is part of this, and they also supporting this whole transformation. So the leadership not only championing, but also what expectation you have from the team. I was approached by a lady. She was responsible for agile transformation of the bank in Australia, CBA, Commonwealth Bank of Australia. She was saying, Dharam, we are very happy the way the team has evolved over a period of time, but we are not happy because the leadership has not changed. They're still expecting you to give them a status report and give them feedback. Yep. every so often in that previous traditional way of doing things. So they don't want to change themselves, but they're happy to support the transformation, but they're not getting, or they're not appreciating the work coming out from the agile.
Yeah, that's when you have a problem of walk the talk, So if they say we want to change, and then they don't change as are the only ones, but expect the others to change. That's a problem with honesty, and respect for the people.
Yeah. All right. I'm just okay. Right. My next question. Okay, on the leadership side, can you explain the role of leadership in fostering an agile culture during scaling process?
Yeah, I think there are three roles depending on the face of the transformation. First is the role of sponsorship. That is, let's say, expecting something, issuing your expectations, your requirements, maybe championing a trial, a sandbox team or whatever. Let's try out how it works and how it maybe fits to our culture. So more the exploring phase. Then you need a sponsor who is supporting the team and giving them a positive feedback, ensure the funding of this. And this phase can take 3 months to 2 years, depending on how the organization is willing to do that. And then when the change is happening, the transformation is happening, then as we talked, leading the change with your own hands, somebody has to go there. And if it's really a big organization, the whole C-suite has to be involved. And they all have to go down in the trenches and make sure the people understand what's going on. By selling the vision, having a joint vision and doing the communication part to everybody. And in these kinds of transformation, you really cannot over communicate. You have to tell the story again and again and again until the people understand it and can repeat it because it has been told so often. Hands-on, as I said, care about the culture, and create a culture is difficult. Many say it's not possible.
Yeah.
Nevertheless, you have a cultural change because the agile mindset somehow has to be installed, and make sure that the transformation while it's running, is looking always at the results, the expected results, the benefits that can come out of it.
Yeah.
And the best thing is that if during the transformation benefits already are being presented and watched and reported and monitored and so on. And then the third role, after sponsoring and leading the change hands-on, is that after the transformation, you have to make sure that it is sustained and that the benefits are there, but now the benefits are expected to create the value. That's why you do it. So just changing the organization into agile and then expecting the same outcome, that's not really happening. I said before, that's why it's an outside inexperience. You have the value comes from the outside, from the value chain, from your customers, from the marketplace, and by having a different business, different products, whatever, and the benefits that have been created are a little bit intangible because it's the agile organization, but this organization now has to bring in the value through the benefits that were created.
Exactly. I mean, yeah, as you mentioned, they play a really, really important role in the whole transformation to be successful. If they are not championing, they're not participating, they're not getting into the trenches, they have to be servant leaders, actually. They have to create the atmosphere, environment in such a way that people are really motivated to get into this new transformation. And they are really ready to learn and excel in that. And do the, whether it's scaled agile or whether it's a Nexus or any other agile technology or methodology, everybody should be involved and motivated, excited, and get get themselves into the new mindset.
Yeah.
And the other thing you mentioned about the communication, yes, communication is very important, highlighting the importance of getting the work moving into the agile, why this is going to be important, how it's going to be useful, and also showing them what is in for them. Not about organization. Hey, organization will get benefit because we're going to have a faster delivery, a go-to market. Yep, great. But show them the value of moving into agile, how this will impact, or how they
Yeah.
will
Yeah.
the staff and people who are working on it will benefit out of this. And that's
True.
the buy-in from them.
Yeah, benefits are not only for the company, but benefits are also there for staff, for the people, the employees, and for the customers in the end.
That's
You know?
yeah. Exactly.
Customers will watch you while you trying to transform yourself, and in the end, they expect to see a better company, a better service, a better product. Yeah.
Mm. All right. Okay. My next question is, and this, I'm talking about agile meetups, but it can be generic to PMI meetups or anything else. What are the most common mistakes when networking at agile meetups?
Yeah, I think it's the most common mistakes by going to a conference or a meetup at all, So I think my personal favorite is if you go there and are not humble, if you go there and try to show up, and maybe have your buttons somewhere, and promote yourself all the time, because that will fail dramatically. There are a lot of people in such a meetup you may see for the first time, and the first impression should be you are a nice guy who is humble, and second point is listening. So
Mm.
the second mistake is not listening. Though the first thing is you are introduced to a new guy, please remember their name. Most people say hello, I'm John Doe, whatever, and 10 seconds later you don't know their name. Remember the name. Maybe you write it down. Even that is a sign of showing respect.
Exactly.
And that's in particular if you do business with Asian people, from Asia, from China or from Japan. In Japan, they have a protocol how to exchange your name and greet yourself and exchange business cards. If you still have a business card, is not bad. It's a token. It's a physical token. Yes, you can connect virtually easily, but a business card, have something. And in my business card, there's always I have a picture of my face,
Mm.
because people then look at the business cards, they see my face, remember maybe what we talked about, and then they see my name and my contact address. So this is something, listening, remembering the names, and then also listening what were their things that were new to me, new perspectives, new values, new ideas. They come from meeting other people, humans, and exchanging them. And maybe you know something and they know something, and suddenly it makes woof, it fits together. And then you might have a business opportunity,
Oh, yeah.
And, yeah. And while you are in the meeting, you are humble, you introduce yourself, you meet the people, you are listening and everything. The meeting is over. Well, follow up.
Follow
That's
up.
important. Maybe you met 20 new people and have business cards of 10 of them, and then just follow up. So connect with them on LinkedIn or drop them a short message. Nice to have met you. We discussed this and that. Can we change some whatever? You told me you have a slide deck about this and this. Can you please share it? There are so many opportunities out of these listening, that you can use to follow up and to deepen the one-to-one relationship, and
Exactly.
and the last thing I want to mention here, I said it not being humble, not listening, not following up, nothing is not contributing. If you are still going there, and you are maybe shy and you don't want to talk with people and say, what do they think of me? Then don't go there. It's a waste of money and time. And if you go there, have your eyes open, look them in the eyes, smile, and don't make this with your arms, but stand there and be just open to ask for their name, the first thing, smile, and by the way, if you look someone in the eyes, it's the first few seconds, okay, I like this guy, or we
Yeah,
are
I get
good or
that.
whatever. And then there's the first connection you do with other humans. By the way, you don't do that with AI or with the robots. It's a human feature that you can recognize positive relationships.
Yeah, no, that's a very good point. And I mean, being part of PMI Sydney and gone so many conferences, networking events, I have noticed, what you mentioning exactly, is very well thought, and it's actually observation is very nice. Yeah, so you're going there, if just for looking for new job, not for business opportunity. You're going there to find right connection. First of all, you should go. But even if you should not go because if you're shy, even if you're shy, you should go because you're going to learn out of somebody is saying something may hit, and then that will be useful for you when you're doing a job, when you're looking for a job. You never know, and be open to communicate, listen to others, and be open to talk to everybody. And I like to talk to people who, especially, of course, when you go there as a speaker or something, but I like to pick people who are standing there quietly having quiet drinks and hang on, this person is not getting involved, and let me talk. And you never know, that shy person who's standing there has a lot to share. And
Probably, yeah,
yeah,
because they exhibit their shyness, and maybe they are shy not only at this occasion but at many occasions. So they might not have a lot of people to share their good ideas and their thoughts with. So yeah,
exactly. And yeah, just don't go there only for exchanging cards or finding a new job. There are situations when you are in deep or very, very, into the, you have to have a job. So yeah, people go there just for seeking jobs. But if you just go for this intention of getting job, it is not going to work. You need to build connections. Networking is all about connection. If you don't, you're not able to build connection, nothing will happen. People throw
right.
a card away, and they will never look at you, look at the card. And if you do leave some impression on them, they will remember.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that's what it is. Find opportunities wherever you can go, and if you go, open to listen, open to contribute, open to build your relationship, emotional relationship, not just handshake.
Yeah. And if you are promoting yourself or showing off your an
Yeah,
expert in Agile or whatever, and you go there and do that. Um, Many people say, "Don't tell me what I know already." It's so it's not about the content you are sharing. It's about yourself, and that's the point. And you can share anything about yourself, which is interesting to others, but don't try to cover yourself with some knowledge content.
yeah, that's a very important point. If you have learned something, you just want to, or you want to sell something, you just start showing yourself, or talking, and that means you're missing out opportunities. What other people have to contribute to you.
Yeah,
So just not you, not about you. It's about them. How they're going to contribute to you.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. All right. My next question is: how do project managers manage technological obsolescence risk with agile methodology? I think you have to paraphrase this question, especially obsolescence risk with agile methodology.
Yeah, what is obsolescence? So it's somehow that your knowledge or your value is diminishing. It's going away, fading away, or whatever. And technological obsolescence means, okay, you are sticking with some old
Or technology.
technology,
Yeah.
which is no longer regarded as positive in the marketplace. And it's not only with agile methodologies, if these even exist, but it's in general. You have to make sure that you always apply critical thinking. You get something and you question the value, and you question, is it really something that is valuable? And one particular technique I want to recommend is design thinking, because design thinking, involves that you think in different ways, which is also critical thinking. So you first think a little bit, going outside, gathering a lot of information about the individuals who have a problem, about the problem itself, the context of it, and then you understand the problem better. You converge your thinking to come to one statement, to one topic, and then you open again for the solution. What kind of solutions would solve that problem? And once you have a space of solutions, you again have the convergent thinking to come to the solution you select and try out. This is the thinking technique you should apply, and then this is true for any stage of knowledge. If you apply that, you can even use older knowledge, to make it work. And so also, you have to gather new knowledge. So read and listen. Again, go to conferences and listen to speakers or to the other attendees in the networking session, and read a lot. So, like, I don't know, I think it was Kennedy who said he read 3 books a week. So yeah, and now reading is really supported. So there are apps there that gives you a summary, or if you read on scientific articles, there's the abstract which should show what's in there. So it's not so difficult to gather all of this. Or you could ask ChatGPT about a topic. You get a summary which might be nice. So read a lot and listen, and allot your time. This is something, and be open to new stuff. Maybe okay, you have new stuff every day, and you have to concentrate on your project or whatever, and you are not really thinking about that, and it comes together with this critical thinking, design thinking. So only if you have if you are open to new ideas, to innovations, to other interests, then you can expand your thinking to other areas. And innovation comes from combining 2 things which are not yet related, and you somehow bring them together, network them, and then you find something new. That's most innovations are that you combine different things. So go to conferences and apply continuous learning, lifelong learning. I learned for the pgmp, so the PMI certification for program management, only after I retired. And I certainly didn't do that to have a career in project management, but I was doing that to using my brain and understanding what I did 12 years along before the certificate.
And that's a lot, it's not just learning because you wanted to gain a certificate or do something. It's lifelong learning. And
Right.
that's very, very important. And I do have a number of students. They are now in 60s, even 70s. They said, why do you need to go through the PGMP, PFMP? I'm a lifelong learner. It's not about doing my job or getting certificate. I want to learn the better way of doing things.
Right.
So that should be the motivation, and that should be one of the goal for you. Okay, what I could learn. Don't go for a certificate because everybody is doing a certificate. PGMP, PMP, PFMP, ACP. That is it going to add value and learn from that. And not only these certificate, but also now we're talking artificial intelligence and many technological advancements are happening. Look for them, and maybe those new technology may be helpful to the way you're doing job. And if you find something interesting, try it out, prototype, do a proof of concept, analyze it. If this is working, apply it. And of course, you need to be careful about the technology come with new technology come with some security as breaches or something else maybe there. So yeah, you do your due diligence, and if you are convinced this is going to helpful, why not try it out?
Yeah. And it's not only learning new stuff, that is maybe exciting. It's also learning old stuff. If it gives you a better framework, how to sort in the
Oh
stuff.
yeah.
So, for example, just today, I ran into a free course by Harvard. It's called CS50. It's a 12 weeks course where you learn how to develop software. And it's very over 5 million students already in that course, and the feedback is tremendously good. So if you are 70 and and you don't really know what to do with your time, why not learn how to code?
Actually, coding is not difficult, but yes, yes, there are a few bits and pieces, the structure, and the critical, and your thinking is there, and you are smart, your experience. You may able to create some new app, new system,
Yeah.
software. Maybe for fun. Start with fun, and you keep learning from that.
Right, and maybe you play around with your own web page a little bit and improve it and do that.
Perfect. All right. Okay, let's talk about the next topic. How do you address integration challenges when scaling Agile across multiple teams, departments with different technologies and tool sets?
It's always, we are looking at an organization as a system, and the system has components, and maybe the components are divisions, departments, whatever functions, and how to integrate that, how to make it not fight each other internally, but be consistent and be cohesive. And the core word about that is governance, internal governance. Well, the system is embedded into a overall governance. Somehow they have to follow some laws, policies, regulations, whatever. But internally, you have to structure your organization so that you allow, cross fertilization and cross-functional work. And that's the big thing of projects, actually, projectization of companies, because they were structured hierarchically in silos, and then matrix organizations came up, and matrix organizations came up because across the functions, projects were being executed. And you have this, if you study PMP, you have this matrix organization topic. You have to do that. But for organizations, how can you do that? If you do agile transformations or whatever, a PMO might help, a project management office, which is tasked with integration. So I built, I built one. I came into a program, and we had different silos and rollouts and projects and whatever. And what I did is to develop this program management office for that program, and then we had eight functions in it, and it worked well. Not all of the 8 worked easily well, but 5 of them were factors for success. Success criteria. Then cross communication. You should enable cross communication. First, you have to allow that people communicate across. And sometimes, management doesn't like it because they are not involved. And it's also a cultural thing. So if you for instance, have a project in France, in France, if people are reporting to a manager, this manager has to be in the know. That's just a cultural thing, because the manager feels he is in charge of the people, not only in business and functional things, but also in personal things. And so that's why you see in French communication very often people on CC up the ladder, but also if you see that, you know that a lot of people are involved and maybe must be asked for approval of things. That's also something you should think in the cultural way, you know. And some companies, especially German companies, they say you can talk to whom you want, you know. Please ask, do it yourself. ask the people yourself, and don't bother me with that topic. So cross communications. So what people do, you know, in the Agile environment, what I saw working well, you know, have these brown bag sessions. So over lunchtime, you know, we have a meeting and somebody is talking about something. Maybe you have a discussion, and then you have 45 minutes of lunchtime, and people are eating, and you know, and there is a discussion going on about a topic across functions, you know, and questions come up. And again, the guy who's doing that, he must follow up with these questions, you know, and he must follow up what happened there. And there are then typical technical things you can do, like a dependency matrix, you know, if you have 10 projects or 10 departments, and then you make sure that you understand which department depends on which other department with what, and maybe you visualize that. You have I had it also in another company, you know, we had a big screen, and you know, on the top were the 10 projects, and on the left-hand side were the 10 departments, and then we had, you know, in the dots, in the in-betweens, we had the dependencies, you know.
Yeah.
And we check this actually once a week, you know, with all responsibility people from these projects and from these things. So I think there are a lot of examples how to do that. Governance is a key word for it, and then a lot of tools and techniques like dependency matrix, like meetings, like brown bag sessions, whatever.
Yeah. I mean, yes, it's a very big challenge if you don't integrate the teams properly, and especially agile environment. You are dependent on other teams, and if they are not providing you right information right at right time, you may have a problem. So maybe cross team meetings, or maybe collaboration, or maybe team building activities. Why don't you start a team building activity? Take out everybody. Hey guys, let's go and bowling club or wherever, and that's where you start finding the relationship, and those relationships outside of organization, outside the work, can be more beneficial. So that will help you the team to talk very smoothly. They're not worried about losing their knowledge and skills, and they're all helping towards the common vision of the organization. They have to rely that we are working together as one team towards one direction. That's one vision of the organization.
Yeah. And Dharam, we had the discussion about the gig economy last time, you know, and today a lot of companies have employees on projects, but then also maybe the same amount of gig workers, of contractors. And it's also a point, you know, even if they work on the same projects, they have to be integrated. So there has to be the time allowance for them to ask employees what's going on here. You know, I heard this and that. You know, can I help? Whatever. This kind of discussion has to be enabled.
Exactly, definitely. Thank you very much. My next question is: what techniques can we employ to prevent the accumulation of technical debt in rapidly evolving agile settings? Technical debt.
Yeah. So technical debt is a term that is mainly used in software development groups. So it's going back to the roots of Agile doing that, and some you know, when does technical debt occur, and when does it accumulate? You know, it's created with short-term thinking. You know, with quick development. So if you have a sprint of 2 weeks and you have to develop something and you run into thinking problems, and then you say, okay, now we have 1 day left, so let's just do this quick shot. And then this quick shot becomes a part of the real MVP, you know, of the real project. And then it's there, and it's hard to change it because it has been rolled out already. So, and then there, you know, the next sprint again, wants to create new features from new backlog items. So this short-term thinking, which comes with time pressure, creates this technical debt, and also a lack of architecture, a lack of oversight of thinking about the full framework, what we are going to do. How to reduce technical debt is, well, you can identify, well, first you have to be aware of it. You have to define a technical debt issue, and it's there, and then you have to put it in the backlog, because at some time you have to it's a debt, you have to pay it back and then to repair it. And there are other, things like refactoring or testing or whatever, or even, rejecting a feature because it has been implemented in a way that is not appropriate. So if you have your criteria for end of programming, if you put something into production, if you really are sincere about it, the team should reject things that have not been implemented in an appropriate way.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, so yeah, as we are developing in rapidly fast projects, and we have to get, let's say, go to market. In this process, we do come across some, okay, yep, let's put it for later. And sometimes we keep forgetting, okay, the new project next iteration. But we need to have a list of register of all these technical debts, and we should have a timeline when we are going to fix them, or otherwise we can keep adding it, just like any debt. And then you look back, hey, we got a big problem here.
Yeah. So I was in charge of big development projects some 30 years ago. And what I always had on these big projects was a function in the project, quality assurance, and these guys were in charge of not testing itself. There were testers doing that, but they were in charge of making sure these testers did their job correctly, and that, if something was not ready for deployment, then it was not deployed. They had a veto right,
Yeah, perfect. Thank you. All right, thanks so much. That was good, very nice. So my next question is, what KPIs, key performance indicators, and metrics are essential for tracking success and efficiency of agile practices at scale?
Yeah, first of all, I think, any KPIs, any metrics you are applying to performance of teams or whatever are in contrast to agile team ways of working, because we are self-managed teams and we don't like external supervision.
Yeah.
We don't like command and control, and so we want to do it ourselves. So it's hard to talk about KPIs, because any KPIs in Agile will see some resistance. So what you could do, what you should do, what you maybe can negotiate with the team is to talk about value. What kind of value is a team delivering? And value, remember, value is very subjective, because depending on who sees the product and the results, they will judge value in a different way. And in the end, value of any development we are doing is the value of the organization, which is the bottom line, which is maybe the target of more growth, less cost, whatever. This is always the same. The second metric that could be seen with an agile team is customer satisfaction.
Yeah.
And so, but who's the customer? Again, is it the customer in the marketplace, or is it the user within the company who is receiving that product you are developing as an agile team, which is very often in some projects the case, that is an internal project, is an internal product, and then who is the customer. And the third besides the value, the customer satisfaction, is for me, and I've done that myself, is team morale index. Because if the team morale is high, customers will be satisfied because they will meet smiling people and listening people, and people will support each other. The team morale index is a very early indicator of problems in a project, but it's also a point where you can see, okay, if it's increasing, the team is working well together and is being productive. And then besides those three, we have a lot of technical measures in the agile environment, like velocity or the sprint length, the cycle time, lead times, until we deliver a product, and so on. Even technical debt would be a KPI, although a little bit with a negative connotation. So yeah, it's certainly something that is in contention, because Agile doesn't like to be measured so easily. But I understand that you have to do it in a Agile at scale implementation.
Yeah, and yes, you're right. In a way, like agile. We don't think when we're talking lesser documentation and this and that, but same time we're talking about the KPIs measurements. There are some measurements, some internal measurements from the Scrum team point of view, like the velocity and the burn down chart, burn up charts, and all those things, and few other things you mentioned. Very nice, like net promoter score, like a net promoter score, or the customer satisfaction. You did everything, all great KPIs released, but the customer is not happy. What did you do? Something is missed. And they like to see happy and excited people. They are really agile, actually excited, and they are making the difference to you. So then customer automatically get that. And the usability of the product. You did a great job. Is it not usable? No. So as a self-organizing team, you may suggest the product owner, look, there are few things we can do to make it more usable. So and engage employee engagement and many other things can talk.
Well, one for the whole organization, we are talking teams. If you talk velocity, then team internal measurements, and okay, we needed to have some objective measure how they are doing. But in agile scaling, you have a lot of teams, and you have maybe the whole organization. You have a cultural thing, and then other kind of measurements outside of the teams or between teams. They come into play, and you cannot avoid that teams are even compared. That you have again a competition coming up.
Exactly. Yeah, good. Very well said. So how can organizations implement effective monitoring system to identify and address issues quickly in the large-scale agile environment?
Yeah, I think we discussed it with the KPIs and so on. And it's very hard because monitoring means control, and control is nothing which is compatible with an agile implementation. Nevertheless, I think companies will do that. So every company which is larger has something like an internal audit, which guys who will come in and see if some policies are followed and everything. And so good companies also have a quality management group, who supports projects, HR teams, whatever, with quality management techniques, but also measurements. And I think if you do such a transformation, you have to look at this quality management department, who will develop the appropriate ways to monitor issues and to monitor, because issues are always quality issues, and so they have the right means to do that.
Yep. Having a right, we do look for some kind of a dashboard where we can see all this, especially we talk a large scale, a number of different teams and how things are being done in every team, collaboration happening, and that dashboard can be useful for monitoring and maybe providing right guidance, right direction.
Yeah.
Because
again, you have to be careful with comparing Agile
it's
teams.
not comparing. It's not about comparing, because you as a program manager, portfolio manager, you have a bigger vision. These teams are working in silos, and of course, they're not silos, but they have their view only up to that limit. And you can see overall picture. So that's where the interdependency, are they talking with each other, how much interaction required, and collaboration, all those things can be part of your monitoring and observation. And bring them in, as we talked about, team building happening, and interaction is happening. You can create an environment where they can interact more effectively, more involved, and share the problems and issues which they are facing with each other. How can we better communicating with each other? They let them find out, but some kind of observation is still required.
Okay, Dharam.
All right, good. Thank you very much. It was again another insightful session. Lots of experience flowing from your past IBM experience and Agile experience, and all this information help us to collect another pool of information. Hopefully, some people who are going through the Agile transformation, they can avoid some pitfalls which we have talked about, or if they had gone through that, they can see how can they improve going forward. Yes, we always here to help. If you anybody looking for any guidance or help, we here to help. Thomas is well known, and you can find out Thomas, Walenta, and myself to support you.
Yeah, thanks, Dharam, for organizing that, and to all our listeners, wish you some nice holidays, and hope for a good and healthy 2024.
Exactly. Yeah, this is our last web podcast, and I'm looking forward for more and more sessions where we can bring more knowledge for our users. They have been watching, and they have been really enjoying these sessions. So thank you once again, Thomas, and thank you all of you for watching and putting your thoughts together and helping us to grow and bring more and more sessions like this. Appreciate your contribution. Thanks, Thomas.
Thank you, Dharam.
Thank you. See you later.